Get going. Good morning and welcome to everybody. This is Selling for Success, our Monday morning sales clinics. This is our last class. We've been looking at knowing yourself way back when we started in December, knowing your needs, warming up the sales call, developing a sales action plan. We talked about that. A little bit of goal setting right before the holidays and after. Selling is a good conversation. Overcoming some of the fear, we've looked at that. Asking questions, don't give up and stay in touch. We looked at that. Remember, we looked at a couple of things. We looked at the learner-judger model last week for asking questions. And also, hopefully you downloaded the McKay 66. I really encourage you to do that, actually. And download the McKay 66. Harvey McKay, he's authored several books. Probably the most famous book he wrote was called How to Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive. A really good practical book to this day. I really like that book. We're going to look at don't give up, stay in touch, and relationship is key. So today, in our last day, we're going to look at selling scenarios, negotiating, overcoming objections, and asking for the sale. Ask, ask, ask. Sometimes we forget, you know. Do you want 5 or do you want 10 of those, right? So hopefully some of your mics are open, and I'd like you to jump in on the conversation here this morning. So let's get engaged. Not really, but, you know, I know Valentine's Day is coming, but yeah, I think a date first would be better, and then you can get engaged. So I just want to discuss, these are some sales scenarios that you might encounter in your in your work and your business. And sometimes it's good to sort of brainstorm on how you would sort of handle certain situations with customers so that when they come up, you're not like, oh my God, you're lost, right? I don't want you to be lost thinking and fumbling and getting panicky and nervous. It's good to sort of prepare yourself for what might happen in certain situations. And one is that your buyer has no external pressure or compelling event that's driving the client to make a change. So in other words, the internal pain points and cost implications facing the client don't hurt enough to make change a real priority. How would you deal with that with the client? What would you do to sort of, get them closer to, nudging them to make a buy or a purchase? What would you do in that case? Who'd like to jump in? This is where I need your involvement today, people. What would you do in that case?
Possibly ask them how happy they are with the situation that they're in.
Yeah. What else would you ask? What else would you do? It's not compelling enough.
This is Sam. Can you hear me?
Yeah, totally. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Just to show them how will they benefit or improve in whatever they're doing by using your services or products.
Right. That's great. So just show the benefits, reinforce the benefits. I see Larry on the call. Larry, do you have any ideas? You've been in business for a while. What would you do? I got a comment. Oh, to get an idea of the timing. Kent writes, to get an idea of the timing. That's what he would ask. Yeah, that's what I would do too, Ken. I'd get an idea of like the timing and when might they need it more. Like just get a sense of when would they need it, right? So that's something I'd be kind of inclined to do as well. Welcome back, Dan. Welcome. So we're going to look at another scenario. I see Dan on the call and a few other. Oh, Ira is back. Welcome, Ira. Welcome to the call this week. How about this? How can you put a little pressure on your clients to make a change? What would you say to get them to change? What would you include maybe in your marketing material? To get people to think like, hey, you know what? You better act now, or, this is what's happening.
Because your competitors are doing it?
Yeah.
Or they're above you?
Yeah, okay. I heard a woman's voice in there, and then...
I think it's Ruth.
Hey, Ruth.
And are there any specific features about your business that would make it unique that might help the entire experience of that company?
Right, right. Okay, so specific features of what it is you do. Kent also adds, again, what's your sense of timing around this? I think that's a really valuable question. The other thing you might do in your marketing material to put pressure on people is perhaps include studies and statistics. Studies show, or, did you know, that this is what, these are the results. So you might want to remind and educate your customer as to what's actually going on. I see also too, Nadia, welcome back to you, and Amanda, welcome to you. Nice to have you both here. And yeah, just, you're going to encounter these kind of sales situations, and it's really vital that you be prepared. What about this situation? The perceived benefits of what you're doing or offering are not great enough. An example, like the return on the investment. So you're not differentiating yourself from your competition, so that your solution actually doesn't satisfy the client's needs. What would you do then? How would you respond to a situation like that? They're not seeing that you're any different from who they're already using. What would you do? Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, Julie, I think the sound's okay. Kent adds, what happens if nothing changes? That's true. What's the cost of not doing anything? Right? Everybody can hear us so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, okay, good. If this is, in this case right here, the perceived benefits aren't enough, I'd actually, I'd probe a little bit more. I'd be asking really, big questions of the client. What is it that you do want? What do you need? That's a big question. I do one-on-one business coaching, and it's like, what do you want? Is a really powerful question. What do you want? Sometimes your customers don't know exactly what they want. And what what would we have to do in order to get your business and secure it? Thanks, Matthew. I hear you loud and clear. Thank you, man. What about this selling scenario? What benefits do you think are most likely to get your client to respond? What would you do? What gets you to respond to someone selling you a product or service? Any ideas? Any ideas there?
David, it's Linda.
Hey, Linda.
For me, I know if someone has hit the nail on the head and can identify immediately what my need is, then I pay attention to that person. So if I was a salesperson trying to sell them my service, that's my focus when I talk to people, is to try and get to the nitty-gritty of what is the need or the problem that they need solving, and then I try and tailor my service to meet that need.
Beautiful. That's it. So you want to, you want to have a solution that's going to meet your client's desires, right? And sometimes you have to ask some really tough questions of your clients to get there, because not all of them really want to divulge everything, right? And when you ask those tough questions, one of the things that might come up in a sales call is there's going to be silence. And that silence is painful sometimes. And the rule of thumb is the first one to talk loses. I don't like win or lose per se in selling. I like win-win. But, just ask those tough questions. Don't be afraid to ask those, pointed questions. And then just let the client talk first. And then you can respond. It's really important. Okay, another couple of scenarios, a little bit more on the discussion this morning. The risk of your solution or idea is too high for the prospect. So, if, for example, there's no relevant case studies that have been presented, there is insufficient trust that you can do the job, the impact of failure, if they choose you, is perceived at being too high. What would you do then? The risk of your idea or solution is too high for the prospect. Too high. It's a high solution. What would you do? I think for the sake of argument, and I'm not hearing anybody offering ideas, you want to get testimonials, and you also want to be having your client get in touch with some of your better clients, or having your prospect rather get in touch with some of your better clients, and they can have a conversation as to how you did, how did you show up, right? So yeah,
Can I add something?
yeah, sure.
Okay. This may not apply to every business, but in my business, what I do, I offer pilots and test scenarios. So just at a very low risk for them to see some of the benefits. And if they like, if in phases, approach the project in phases. So very low risk, very in terms of investment and time. And once they see the benefit, they can decide whether to go ahead or not. But this may not apply to everybody.
Right. Okay. Well, not everything's going to apply to everybody. There's people doing B2B selling and B2C selling and wholesaling too. But I appreciate that. That was good. Another scenario you might encounter is the client doesn't have the authority to sign the deal. So you're spending time with the wrong contact. What happens there? What do you do?
A note can still offer you valuable referrals.
Yeah, okay, so viable referrals, and then ask, who was that Matthew that said about the decision maker?
Mike,
okay, so what would you do there?
ask for who makes the decisions.
Yeah, I'd go direct to the decision maker. Although, Mike, you run the risk of insulting somebody, right? I guess if they're not the decision maker.
If you're assertive and say, no, I understand you're in the position that you're in, and I understand it may not be your call, is it possible to have a meeting with yourself and the person that makes that decision? How do you feel about that?
Right. Good. So you're using a little, you're kind of skating around it a little bit, and using a little diplomacy in the sales process. Larry adds on I have a chat bar here. People write in answers. Break down your offering. Yeah, break it down into pieces and show the value at every step of the way. And perhaps you can win that way. Good discussion here this morning. Great. Thanks for the input. And finally, this might happen. What would you say to a client that was using your company to benchmark other companies' offers? So they're shopping, they're shopping you. They might not be really intent on using you, but they want to see, how you compare to other competitors. How would you approach that situation? Because tell me that doesn't happen to you. How would you approach somebody like that?
We love when they're doing that because we have the best service and product.
All right. That's Jim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. So you invite them because, okay. What else? How else would you handle that?
I would just say, I understand we're not the only people that you're looking at, and I think that's a good on your part, and that's good for you to do your due diligence. In the end, you're going to decide of what you think is best for you, whether it's with us or somebody else.
Yeah. Larry writes on the chat bar, you got to expect benchmarking. I've gone so far to say, look, if you are shopping, we're not the cheapest, and we're not the most expensive. Tell me what you need, and I'll see if I can match it. Right? I feel I'm a bit of a minimalist as far as my work goes. I don't want to do a whole big quote and proposal and presentation if they're just shopping me, because that's not a fun feeling, right? So what I'll do is I'll just ask, if you are shopping me, where do I need to be in order to get your business, right? And I'd actually be that direct. What do you think? Is that too direct, or would you incorporate something like that in your sales approaches to these situations?
I don't see why you can't ask and say, so on what are you going to base your decision? What are your, you know, what are your key criteria? Can we talk about those?
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. Thanks. Kent agrees. And how do you get the buyer to take an action now or get an agreement as to when they'll be able to make the buy and sign off on the deal? Any? I think we kind of discussed it a little bit already. Any ideas there? That's this one here. Again, I'd be always getting commitment along the way, getting buy-in, getting yeses along the way, and just straight up asking. I don't know. I just like to ask those tough questions and get clear. I don't like spinning my wheels. Because, you know, I think we need to be confident as business owners about ourselves. You know, we need to have a little bit of swagger and to be confident that, you know, and we've already heard it. We're the best, right? On the call this morning. So I think we need a little swagger, and we need to be confident in ourselves as business owners and what we do and what we can do. And I think you know, as nice as it is to get the client and get business, you know, it's also like we're going to serve the bejeebers out of the client and do well by them. And I think if we have that sort of attitude coming in, that, you know, like, ask away. You know, if you feel in your heart of hearts you're really there to help somebody, then you're not doing them any favor by playing small and being shy about things.
Yes, we can be bold without being aggressive.
Exactly. I love it. Larry writes, you should know what the process is before you get involved in milestones. Yeah. You know, I like the response of, you know, asking about their buying criteria. What is it that they're going to, you know, what's going to get them to buy and make a decision? I think that's really important. Kent writes, I agree. We have to be willing to ask for the business. Totally. All right. Great job, everybody, this morning so far. This is good. So what we're, you know, looking at is, you know, what might happen during the presentation. Last week we talked about asking good questions. That's the discovery session, or the discovery phase of the 6-step sales process. Now we're looking at step 4, which is we got to make a presentation, right? And once you presented, you know, you might encounter an objection. We also looked at presentations last week very briefly, but, you know, you might do your best presentation. You might, you know, sort of come up against these kind of selling scenarios. The other thing you might come up with is you might come up with and encounter an objection. So what is an objection really? What do you think it is? You think that's it? You've lost the sale and the deal?
It could be more, they're looking for more assurances, or they're negotiating. They might want to have a better deal.
Yeah, that's true. They might want assurances. They might want a better deal. What are some typical objections that you face? What do you face? Usually it's like time and money, right? I don't have enough money, or it's a bad time. Larry writes, not understanding, your clients don't understand your offer fully. Yeah. So are objections good or bad, do you think? I say they're good in that
You're great.
You say they're great?
They are.
Okay.
Because then it challenges you to really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And how to best answer the question.
Yeah. Okay. It does.
Objections are great because it continues the conversation.
You got it. They are great. Matthew writes, cost too much is a common objection. Yeah, for sure. The cost of your offer is too much. That's a common objection. So objections are great. They're actually cool. So what an objection is really it's your customer is stating a need they didn't know existed. So if you hear, like, you know, the typical objections of time, money, oh, others in the office, or I got to bring back my wife, or I've got to get sign off on this. What your customer is saying is they're stating a need. So it's really important for you to sort of ask them what it is they need, like in terms of money, what do they need, right? And so a really cool way to um, overcome objections is to put your hats on, not your toque today, although you don't really need a toque, but to put your hats on. And I'll just get clear on this term hats. Okay, it's actually an acronym. And Larry writes here. He's one of our participants today. Question and answers lead to more clarity, and they're good. So yeah. So that's also a valid point. You know, you've got to ask questions. So one of the cool ways to overcome objections is put your hats on. So you want to hear the objection out. So that's the H. Hear it out. Accept it. You know, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. The conversation's still going, right? You even said that. And then thank the client for stating it. Remember, an objection is only a need. They're your client stating a need they didn't know existed. And so that's the hat part. The S part is, and here, Larry, here's where you ask good questions. Ask your client to solve their own objection. All too often, we panic when we hear an objection, and we start to give the price away, and we start to, well, do you need a discount? Do you need this? Do you need that? I'll throw it in. No, don't do that. You know, have faith in your offer, have faith in your ability, have faith in the quality and the service, and ask the client to solve their own objection. Get them to solve it. So what you'll ask is, okay, Joe, you know, I get that money is an issue. What would you like to see? What would you like to see? And they'll tell you. And now you enter into a phase of negotiation. Do you want that deal? Can you live with what your client wants and needs? Or is it a bad deal? Is it compromising your bottom line, right? Does that make sense for everybody? So this is a really cool method of overcoming objections. Another comment, Larry writes again, be open-minded with the client. Yeah, for sure, be open-minded with the client. So this is, put your hats on. When you hear an objection, don't sweat it, hear it out, accept it, thank them. Hey, thanks, Joe. You know, money's an issue for a lot of us these days. What would you like to see in order for us to do business? What would you like, right? And that's how you solve objections. You could try this at home. You know, any of your kids complain to you, hear it out, accept it, thank them. How, you know, maybe they'll make dinner for you, right? If they don't like dinner or something like that. So try that hats theory out at home. So now you get into a bit of a negotiation, right? And you know, again, you have to factor in negotiation as part of the sales process. If you're not prepared, you know, you really could be missing some sales, right? So one of the methods I like is this is a tool called negotiating from the left. You see that right there? And what you want to do is here's the importance of asking questions we talked about last week. You want to get into your opponent's drivers for change. So why did I hate the word opponent, your prospect or client's drivers for change. So why did the client want to meet you in the first place, right? What was it that you know, when you originally spoke to them, that they were open to meeting you, right? So you want to get clarity on that. And I think, Larry, you've been writing a lot about getting clarity and asking questions. Really important stuff. And then, you know, we talked about what are the implications and cost if they don't change. So someone had mentioned that in today's session so far. And then get clear on their desire and need for improvement. When do you need this by? When are you ready to make a commitment? It's really important that you ask these three questions of your client and then remind them of the value that you're going to add, how you're going to solve their the change they're making, how you're going to solve their problems, how you're going to help them get to that promised land, that improved scenario for them, right? And then reiterate, your position or the outcome they're going to get from working with you. So this is a really cool way to kind of think of negotiating. Negotiate from the left to the right. Okay, we got some more comments in the comment bar. Larry says, client negotiation shows that you're on the right track with the client and partway home. Totally. You get into this phase. This is it can be a very sticky phase, right? Overcoming objections. Oh, they don't like me, or, the price is too high. I'll never get the deal. Stop that. Stop right there, right? If it's a bad deal, don't take it, number one. If it's reasonable and you want the client, go for it, right? But don't accept a deal that's going to compromise your bottom line or your reputation. Yeah, it's never personal.
Dave, I have a question.
Please.
Some of the questions, you can anticipate. For example, for me being a small company and new with no history, I can anticipate that question will come up. How many people are you? How long you've been in business, or have you done similar projects and so on? So, is it a good idea to actually preemptively answer those questions before they come up, or you just hope that they don't come up and you answer them when they come up?
Ooh, boy.
Because this is the thing that I run into all the time.
Right.
That how many people, how big are you, how long have you been in business, and have you done similar projects? Or along those lines.
You can't avoid the truth. And I would just state the truth.
No, but do you actually, do you bring it up before they ask you? So that
I don't. I don't think it's that important. What I'm focused on is serving the client and getting to know the client and how I can help them.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and some of these questions are planted in the mind of the customer by your competitor.
Right.
And after a while they become repetitive and you know where they're coming from. It's not the customer's idea, it's your competition's idea.
Yeah.
Putting it in their mouth.
I had a young woman I coached in the self-employment benefit program a number of years ago, and she was 20 years old, starting a business, and her business was home staging. And a lot of the real estate agents are 40, 45 plus, right? And they looked at her and they went, well, you're way too young, like, what experience do you have, right? And she couldn't overcome that. Like, for a long time, she couldn't overcome that. And then when we met, the idea was, you know what? You're right. I am too young. Like, you can't get away from being 20. And so what she focused on was the benefits of being young. So, yeah, I am too young, but here's what I bring to the table. I have energy, like new ideas, creativity. I work really hard for my clients. I'm really passionate about getting my business going. So if that's kind of company you want to deal with, I'd love to work with you. So I'd really, I wouldn't really bring that up. I wouldn't focus on, sort of the lack or the shortcomings of your business, but I'd really get present to knowing the positive. And don't forget, you bring a lot of life experience to the table, right? And it sounds like you also came to Canada, maybe a few years ago or whatever, so you have an international exposure. So don't discount your life experience either. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does actually, yeah. That's what I try to do on my personal background rather than the company background.
Yeah. Like, you can't avoid like who you are, like, but what you can do is you can, there's that old song, accentuate the positive. We've got a comment from Larry, says, be prepared. You could have done, the projects as an FTE, not as a contractor. So don't lie. You'll lose when you get.
No, it's not about my question. My main question was, do you actually answer to a question before they're asked?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Okay.
No. No.
Okay.
You've got
Okay.
lots of experience, believe me. I guarantee it. So if when you enter into the negotiation phase, again, you want to be prepared for it. So ideally, you want to achieve a win-win position in negotiation, right? You don't want the client to lose, and you for sure don't want to lose. So a couple of things, to keep in mind. Sell your own position, like your value, the benefits of your offering, in the context of what drives your client, right? Hey, we're going to do this for you, and you said this is what you wanted. It's that kind of an idea. And treat the negotiation as part of the sales process. Don't get into negotiation as an afterthought. Be prepared to negotiate and ask these tough questions. So that negotiating from the left model we just saw, it works because the first three stages represent your client's world on the left, and the final two represent your value, your position on the right. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So I just want to, again, get into a discussion. Why do you want to be in your client's world when you negotiate, but also during the sales process and the presentation? How does that help you sell more effectively? Any ideas here? Any ideas? Why do you want to be in your client's world?
David?
Yeah.
Linda. I'm not sure if I'm going to answer this right, but for me, the whole reason I exist is so I can help other people. So if I've got somebody out there who can use my services, I want to be in their mindset as much as possible because I want to deliver a product or service that's going to help them. I don't want to just force myself into some place and then get a reputation for doing a lousy job and not meeting the client's needs.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. You want to be there for your clients, right? I want to position myself as a trusted advisor for my client. And when I do that, and you probably find this too, Linda, that ensures that your clients are going to be with you long term, not just for one sale, but for years to come, hopefully, right?
Plus, hopefully, they will refer me to other people in their world, which is a fantastic way to get businesses ask for a referral of somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. Thank you. That's good. Another question. Why do you want to reiterate the cost of not doing something or making a change or taking an action? Why do you want to reiterate that?
Often enough, cost is a reason why they don't want to do something, right? Or it's going to be too expensive if I do this or that. And you have to realize that not doing something also carries a cost.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a cost to action or no action. And lastly, what does reinforcing your idea, your solution do to help the client make up their minds and make a buying decision? You want to reinforce your idea or solution? Kind of gets them to play like what if, What if you don't and what if you do? And if you do, here's what you're going to, here's what's possible, right? Here's the new idea, the new solution. And it gets them out of their pain and into sort of a more pleasurable state.
How do you reinforce your solution?
I think you just repeat it. Like Joe, when we first met, you said you had a problem with, I don't know, unmotivated employees. And with our idea and solution, we're going to engage your employees. We're going to build a more vibrant workplace, and you're going to see better results not only among your employees but also with sales and your customers and your bottom line. Like something like that. Does that kind of describe it for you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I personally hate it when people keep repeating themselves. I might think enough already. I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, you got to be mindful that you're not repeating yourself. But if you're in a negotiation phase, it's good to sort of, again, reinforce it, right, a little bit. But yeah, without repeating it time after time, because then they'll tune out too, right? You find that happens to you? That if you're repeating too much, your clients will tune out, rather?
No, I'm thinking from myself. When somebody's trying to sell me something and they start repeating, then I'm saying, you know, you're selling now. You know, you're not meeting me where I am. And I get annoyed. You know, as a prospect.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for raising that. So in the negotiating, the keys to good negotiation, again, have your goals, set into your objectives and an agenda. So be clear as to what you want to have happen in the negotiation phase. Know your bottom line too. Also pick the right environment. You know, you want to pick a neutral environment. You don't, you know, if you're negotiating, you know, it's you against 4 people. Ooh, that could be a little bit, you know, dicey. Also, maybe even have your negotiations at a third-party location in a more relaxed atmosphere. Also, be prepared to have an opening speech. So your opening speech, it's almost like, you know, when the lawyers do their closing speeches in a court case, it's like that. You know, Joe, when you met us, we you know, this is what we promised to do. Here's how we're going to do it. So you're just reinforcing the value of your offering, and you're chunking it down. I think, Larry, you had mentioned that, you know, like go step by step as to how you're going to do what you're going to do for the client. Also, be aware of the buyer's authority. Are you talking to the right person? You know, if you're just talking to a, I don't want to belittle people, but like an admin assistant, they're not necessarily the key decision maker. However, don't ignore them either or treat them poorly, because they are part of the decision-making process. So try and get to the person that makes the decisions if you can. Another key in negotiating is be prepared to walk away, right? If it's a bad deal, you know, just like don't take it. You know, it could put you, it could compromise your professionalism, your integrity, and your bottom line. So know when those 3 things are being compromised. Really important. And also know your prospect, right? Listen to clues. Your clients will leave clues as to how they like to be dealt with, right? You know, some people say, well, you know me, Joe, I drive a hard bargain, or, you know, they'll tell you what they want. So just, you know, really be, you know, keen listeners in the sales process. Any questions, comments, ideas? Are you learning stuff? I hope.
Yes.
All right, good. Now here's the fun part. So you've overcome objections. Maybe you've negotiated a little bit of a deal. Now you got to ask for the deal, right? And really important to ask for the sale. So there are a few ways you can do that. You can do a trial close. Why don't you try us out, right? Try a little. You know, this is when you have like lots of there's an existing supplier already getting most of their business. Ask them to try you out and see what they think. So the risk isn't so great. The risk of change, the risk of going to a new supplier like yourself isn't so great, because they're trying you out on a little job. And hopefully as they come to try you and like you, and you start to, you know, they start to trust you, the deals will get, you know, meatier and bigger. Another one is the direct close, where you just ask for the business, right? Or a pressure close. I'm not fond of this, and I bet most people on today's session aren't fond of this. This is sort of like, well, if you don't order by, you know, today at 5 o'clock, the price goes up. Anybody like that one?
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. The negotiated close is what we just talked about when you're negotiating. Look, Joe, if you want a better price, then I need a check up front, right? So you're negotiating the close. Like, I'll give you that if you give me this, okay? And then there's the alternative close, which is, okay, so, you know, you don't want package A. Well, we have the silver package, right? Why don't you try something and then we can grow into it. So, for example, a website, I can't afford the 10-page website. Then, well, why don't we start you off with a 5-page website? It's a lot less, and then we can grow into something more down the road, right? That's the alternative close. And then there's the assumptive close. I kind of like this one a little bit. That'll be 5 cases. You're kind of assuming that you got the deal already. And then there's the rebound close. That's where you take an objection and you turn it into a closing question. So, Joe, if I can get it for you at that price, right, if price is the objection, would you then do business with us, right? Would that get us the deal? So really important. These are some closing techniques. What I invite you to think about, though, moving forward is what kind of closing techniques suit your personality and your style. And so that's the way you'll ask for the business at the end of a negotiation or once you've solved an objection. So what do you like? What are some of the closing techniques that you tend to gravitate to? I like the direct close, personally. I like to ask straight up. Anybody
I like the
else?
alternative clause.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the trial close has got a lot for it if you're still trying to establish trust.
Yeah.
The other guy who was like me, you're just starting, you don't have a lot of references and all that. Well, try me on something smaller and let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I like that too. That's a good one. Yeah, so work in these closing techniques in your sales, process, right? In your sales repertoire. Really, really important to do. We're going to just move forward. We're doing really well on this Monday. The last kind of thing we want to look at is the importance of, doing the work, but also nurturing the relationship. So, nurturing the relationship, you've got to be asking good questions. That builds trust, listening, gaining knowledge about your client, knowing them inside out so that you can serve them properly. Peter Drucker suggests, my greatest strength as a consultant is to be ignorant and ask a few questions. So what are 5 ways that you think you can build on the trust factor and relationships with your prospects and clients? Any ideas here? What are 5 ways you can build on trust and relationship? Ideas, comments?
Are you talking about in relationship with a prospect at this stage?
Prospect or client.
Or client?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think with a client, a follow-up sort of formal or informal survey is a helpful start, so how did I do, on this aspect or that aspect or so on.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
I agree with you. Mike says follow up with the client, like he agrees with you. Demo, do a demo. Even maybe, in some cases, depending on your business, if you can afford it, give them a free trial. Like, try us out for free. We'll give you a free sample. Any other ways you can build on the trust factor and relationships? Oh, we got another comment. Yeah, samples of your work. I think following up, being your word, probably the most important thing that you can do. Some other ideas, like take them to lunch. I'm really big on booking annual planning sessions with my clients just to see where they're going this year, what their goals are. And this time of year is a really good time of year to sit down with your client and book that planning session and just sort of, have a little coffee with your clients and see where they're going and how you can really help them. Also, too, ask them if it's cool to have them on your newsletter, blog, marketing list. So, educate your client as you go. And if they are on your newsletter, blog, marketing list, ask them how much is too much. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want somebody sending me something like every day. I've subscribed to some, newsletters or marketing list, and I get something every day. To me, and you guys probably too, I find that just a little too much. And I've actually it had the like an adverse effect on me where I've gone off their I've done unsubscribe. So yeah.
The other thing is, going beyond Call of Duty. For example, if you can help customers in areas that there's nothing in it for you, but in your conversation you see you can help, or refer them to areas of help.
Yep.
I think that helps as well.
Yeah. So I've seen that like with real estate agents. They'll they'll refer you to a plumber or somebody to repair your place, or yeah. So that's a great idea. I'm looking at. I have a question bar where people write in their answers, and Nadia suggests more communication. We are planning on doing a quick call every quarter and surveys one or two times a year. That's also really important. Just get on the phone with your clients and just hey, how you doing? What's going on? How's life? That kind of thing. And then ask them where they're at and what they want. Larry writes a test period before they go into a full-blown opportunity. So those are some ways to build trust. Invite your clients to events if you belong to the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce, for example. Invite them to one of the events. Or if you're a BNI member, invite them as a guest. Also, share ideas and leads and contacts with your clients. One of the things you always need to be doing, though, is always showcase your knowledge, your expertise, and share those success stories. Really important. Your client gets an idea that, yeah, you know what? You're an expert in what you're doing. You're a going concern. You've got a successful business and clients, right? I want to do business with people who are busy and doing things and doing well. Any questions, comments? So here's why relationships, of course, are important. It costs 5 times as much to get a customer as it does to keep an existing customer. So that in and of itself should help you understand the value of building relationships with your customers. Really, really important. So, relationship selling is all about building a friendship or relationship with your prospects, listening to their needs, asking good questions, showing you care, making sure that the trust you built doesn't get broken, because you can lose a client just like that if they don't, if you break their trust and they stop believing in you. So you want to always be working on building trust and building the relationship. It's really, it's key, right? What's your reputation? That's all we have, really, as business owners. At the end of the day, what's our reputation? What's the market saying about us? So you really want to work on that aspect of your business. So part of relationship selling really maintains regular contact with your clients. Don't neglect them. A lot of times your clients will leave you because they're not feeling the love. They'll leave you because it's like, hey, we don't hear from you anymore. You don't call us, you don't write, you don't send anything. I had a financial planner who, because I went through about 5 years ago, I had a government contract with where I was working, and the funding got cut, right, which happens in government work, and my income wasn't as much, so I had to cut back on my RSP and TFSA contracting for about a year. It took me a year to sort of reboot, right? And he stopped calling me and contacting me, and I asked him, "Where'd you go?" He said, "Well, you're not one of my key clients anymore." I said, "Yeah, but an email, or a newsletter would have been nice, once in a while." So he dropped me because of the change in circumstance, right? Needless to say, I'm not using him as my financial planner, right? Larry writes, show the client how he can increase business using your service and your assistance. For sure. So what are 5 tactics that you can do every month to enhance the relationships you have with your clients, staff, or stakeholders? Any ideas? 5 tactics you can do every month. Okay, for the sake of time, um, a couple things I would be doing is um, host a webinar, have a seminar series. Yeah, utilize your network. Um, the other thing you can do is book those planning sessions, send thank you notes, do fun little mailings. You know, perk up your client's day. A little, you know, I remember sending some chocolates out to my clients on Valentine's Day, and it was, you know, we really love your business, right? So do little things like that for your clients. Keep things fresh. It's almost like, you know, if you're married, you got to take your better half out for a date once in a while, or buy flowers, or they're gonna, you know, they're gonna leave you, right? So yeah, send news articles that are pertinent and relevant, or information out to your clients. So make sure you integrate tactics that are gonna, you know, in your marketing, your sales, that are going to enhance the relationship you have with your client. You know, I love going to the dollar store and looking for little ideas, or I like going to, I live near John Vince Food, which is at the Allen and Shepherd on Steep Rock, and they have all kinds of bulk candies and foods, and I look for new ideas I can maybe package and send out to my clients, right? So really important to do. So, you know, once you know, you got the client, you got to do the work, stay close to the client, ask the client for referrals, more business, ask your client to come back more often, stay in touch with your client. Your clients are your best ways to grow. And here's why you need to sort of stay close to your clients. Let's say you have 10 customers, okay? And let's say, for example, they buy once a year and they buy $100 from you a year, once a year, okay? That's what they spend. So the total sales is $1,000. Now, if you were just to stay close to your customers and you weren't there to spend a penny on advertising or marketing, then let's say you asked every customer for a referral, but you only had 10% that gave you a referral. So now you're up to 11 customers, right? 10% of 10 is 1. And then you ask your clients, hey, why don't you come in more often? We have a sale every now and then, right? And let's say instead of coming in once a year, they now come in 1.1 times a year. And let's say you asked, hey, do you want fries with that? So add-on selling. And now you got a 10% increase there, and now they're buying fries, and your average sale is $110 a year. The total is $1,331. You've just increased your overall sales by 30% by asking for referrals, by getting your client to come in more often, and by bundling or add-on selling, getting your clients to spend more every time they buy. So imagine if that was 100%, that'd be crazy, crazy numbers without doing a heck of a lot. So you gotta, as Larry suggests on the panel here on the question pane, you gotta really farm your clients. I'm just going to end our session today, our 6th session. Well, come to an end with a little bit of a inspiration from Brian Tracy. This is about a 3-minute video. I hope you can all hear it.
Let's talk about the 7 favorite areas.
Hang on a second. I'll minimize that and open up my line. There we go. And first slide. Here we go. Okay.
Let's talk about the 7 key result areas of sales.
This is 3 minutes.
You have the skills and ability right now, if you're in sales, to sell and earn twice as much as you're earning today, and probably much more. It is said that your attitude, more than your aptitude, determines your altitude. How high you can soar and how much sales success you can achieve depends on you and your attitude more than anything else. Now, there's 7 key result areas of sales success that if you improve and sometimes enormously. These areas represent important parts of the process. By mastering these areas, you'll become a much better salesperson. So focus your time and efforts on improving these areas of your sales strategy to achieve amazing success and to increase your income. The first area is called power. This is the process of finding more and better qualified people to talk about your product or service. All salespeople have the most complete prospects who can and will buy from them. The second area is relationship selling, building high levels of trust, rapport, and credibility with each prospect. A person will not buy from you until he or she is convinced that you are their friend and acting in their best interests. Identify needs accurately, asking good questions to learn exactly how and why your product or service is the ideal choice for this customer. The most important thing you can do as a salesperson is to uncover the true needs or problems of the prospect that your product can solve. Most people is making persuasive presentations. This means showing the customer clearly why he should buy your product or service now. Now, delivering an effective presentation can increase your sales by several times over an uncoordinated or unplanned presentation. The fifth key result area
You want to do that. Okay. Background noise. I'm going to postpone that video. We're done our session today. Any comments? And if so, is there anything like that? Just got to mute somebody out there first. There's a lot of background noise. Okay, that's better. Let me just show that video again. I'm also going to raise the volume a bit more, and I'll just go back, and then we're done. Really, we're done our session. But here we go.
Let's talk about the 7 key result areas of sales success. You have the skills and ability right now, if you're in sales, to sell and earn twice as much as you're earning today, and probably much more. It is said that your attitude, more than your aptitude, determines your altitude. How high you can soar and how much sales success you can achieve depends on you and your attitude more than anything else. Now, there's 7 key result areas of sales success that if you improve in each of these areas, your sales will increase, and sometimes enormously. These areas represent important parts of the sales process. By mastering these key areas, you'll become a much better salesperson. So focus your time and efforts on improving these areas of your sales strategy to achieve amazing sales success and to increase your income dramatically. The first area is called prospecting power. This is the process of finding more and better qualified people to talk about your product or service. The best salespeople have the most complete strategies and plans to develop the highest quality prospects who can and will buy from them. The second area is relationship selling, building high levels of trust, rapport, and credibility with each prospect. A person will not buy from you until he or she is convinced that you are their friend and acting in their best interests. The third key result area in selling is to identify needs accurately, asking good questions to learn exactly how and why your product or service is the ideal choice for this customer. The most important thing you can do as a salesperson is to uncover the true needs or problems of the prospect that your product can solve. The fourth key result area in selling is making persuasive presentations. This means showing the customer clearly why he should buy your product or service now. Delivering an effective presentation can increase your sales by several times over an uncoordinated or unplanned presentation. The fifth key result area is overcoming objections. dealing effectively with the questions and concerns of the prospect that holds him or her back from buying. In order to increase sales, you must be prepared to hear the word no and continue selling. Objections simply mean that the prospect is interested and wants to learn more. The sixth key result area of sales success is closing the sale. Confidently asking the prospect to make a buying decision and take action is really important. The seventh and final key result area is getting resales and referrals from this prospect or customer. It means taking such good care of your customers that they buy and buy again and tell their friends to buy from you as well. Maintain a customers for life mentality by treating each customer as though you wanted to have them forever. Now, if you improve by just 10% per year, which is less than 1% per month, in each of these 7 areas, the ultimate result will be that your sales and income will double or more over the next 12 months or even faster. Just try it and see. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to subscribe and tell a friend about it. For exclusive content on sales training, leadership, business, and personal success, visit me at briantracy.com. And while you're there, sign up for my newsletter. Until next time, go out and create the success that you desire.
All right, that's Brian Tracy. So we are done. What did you learn today? Any comments? 3 things that you can learn? Any comments? Here's my request of you. Really work on becoming a sales professional. Your life depends on it. My view is that if you learn to master selling, you'll never work for anybody else again. You'll always be self-employed. Read books on selling. Get a mentor. If there's somebody that you admire in business and in sales, ask them to mentor you. And wherever you see it, always take a sales training seminar. Really, really important. All right? Any questions, comments? So we're done our 6-week series. Again, if you need to email me, you want any missing material, I'm at thecoach@smallbusinessbigideas.com. My website is the Boomer Business Coach, and that's my phone number. I just want to thank everybody for being here every week. We've had some really good turnouts. Linda, thank you. Ira, thank you so much. Kent, Azita, Mike, the website for Brian Tracy, Sam, is, I think, I got that on YouTube, but Brian Tracy, check him out. Terry, thank you. I just really enjoyed meeting all of you over the past, I guess, kind of 8 weeks, because we had a 2-week break. And I hope you learned a lot from being with us over the past